Welcome aboard to the Heavy Metal Truckers, where we give our thoughts and perspectives on all things heavy. We are your hosts. Unfortunately, Frosty will join us later because he's going through some OTR shit. But in this video, we are doing a album review of the latest album from November's Doom. God, I almost forgot who it was. Thought we were doing Paradise. I was about to say Paradise Lost. That's next week.
We did that a while ago.
Oh, we did.
Oh no, we do that next week. Yeah, next week or the week after. Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah. No, I was thinking of different band. Never mind.
Yeah, you're good. Okay, so yeah, we're doing the album review to November's Doom. Yeah, November's and their latest album, Major Arcana. So take it away.
Yes. So I do believe the first time I heard of November's Doom was when, a year and a half ago, we first checked them out on the channel.
Whenever we did our Doom thing.
Yeah. I think it was the first time I ever heard them. Or even heard of them. And I remembered, what I heard then. I liked it. And then the two songs that we had heard up to this point, I think anyway, which was Ravenous and Mercy?
It was Ravenous, Mercy, and there was another one.
Okay, well, I remember.
Major Arcana. Major Arcana was the first one.
Oh, the track. Okay, yeah. I remember, for the most part, I enjoyed those three. So I had high hopes for this album. Now like the last one, I'd never listened to an album before, so I had nothing to compare it with in terms of previous albums. So I love me, which can be good and bad, I guess.
It can be.
Yeah. But this album, like I said, I had decent helps. Yes, I had decent helps.
Glad you did.
Decent hopes going in, and I can say that the album easily met, if not surpassed, my hopes.
Nice. I'm glad to hear that.
I thoroughly enjoyed this album. I would even go as far as saying it's probably one of my top 3 favorites we've listened to since we started this channel.
That is awesome.
And it's funny because like the Green Carnation album, other than the first little intro track, there really isn't anything short on here. There's several that are in a 5-minute or so range, but then there's others that are in 6 to 8 minute range. So,
and I can go more into this later, but I think what makes this the most fascinating and brilliant part of this is these guys are not big at all. They're a small, medium group based out of Chicago, and they're very common to just play like little bar, big bar gigs. Like that's what they enjoy doing, and it's like they have so much more potential. I
think they're reaching that potential because
they are.
This album, this album was fantastic. The guitar work, the melodies, their vocals, even their what's the term I'm looking for? Their harmonies when they would do the vocals were fantastic.
The harmony, the melodies.
And everything musically, you could tell when they did this album that it was they really thought it out, like what it was going to sound like, where each thing was going to be, like how they were going to do it, because everything worked. And I'll even say, especially for a small to medium-sized band, whoever did the mixing, at least to me, did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
You could clearly hear all the instruments. I didn't feel like anything was buried or messy or whatever. And I thought the little intro, the 2-minute intro or less than 2-minute intro, I thought it was, even though it was the softest thing on the whole album, it still felt, it didn't feel misplaced, even though it was the beginning. Like, it felt like a good thing to, like, kind of like get you in the spirit per se of what the album was going to be. And you know, and then you had the title track come in, and that's just like it. I can see why they picked the title track, because in my opinion, it was the best song on the album. I loved their harmonies in it. The chorus was great. Even if you really pay attention to the lyrics, I thought the lyrics were great. You know, like I can't say anything negative about it. And it continued like that through the whole entire album. The only, now, and I say my least favorite, still an excellent song. But if somebody forced me and said, "What was your least favorite song?" It was probably "Chatter," but still not a bad song. If I had one complaint, and it's such a nitpicky complaint,
I'm the king of nitpicking, so go for it.
Is there's two songs, one especially, and it's "Dusking Day," that it took a long time for anything to start or really start to happen in that song. I think there was like a minute where it was like virtually almost silence. I felt like they could have made that a lot shorter or done away with it completely. It didn't really affect my score much, if at all, but you know, like, it'd be like my little nitpicky thing is that and there was another song that had like a stretch like that at the beginning too. It wasn't as long as in Dusking Day, but it was there.
Yeah.
Like, to me, going through this whole album, there wasn't even a song I would say felt like a filler track.
Yeah. Impressively.
Like, like every one of them was like
its
a
purpose.
great. Yeah. The album itself flowed all the way through. Nothing felt weird or out of place. The album was very cohesive. Like, all times, you know, a lot of bands, you get to the last song, and like I said, a lot of times they're like a filler or like the soft ballad type thing.
Yeah.
You know, this one, which was called 22, it was one of probably my top 3 favorites on the album. Like, so I said, all the way through the album it was fantastic. Like, these guys nailed it. You know,
they're good at what they do.
Oh, they're absolutely fantastic. Like, I was honestly blown away.
Yeah.
I know they've watched one of our videos before. If y'all are watching this one, like, seriously, round of applause for you. Like, give yourself a pat on the back. Like, y'all killed it. You know, I'm definitely, between what I've heard before and this album, becoming a fan.
Oh yeah.
And saying all that, I gave this album a 9.
Fuck yeah.
Which I think is only the 3rd time I've given an album a 9 on this channel. So,
right.
Like, seriously, it's an album of the year contender for me for sure.
Nice. So, my introduction, as was my introduction to Green Carnation, there, once upon a time, there may or may not have been a website that I went to. There may or may not have looked at albums. There may or may not have leaked. So this was one of those albums, and it was November's Doom, Blood White. And it was, the album cover was magnificent. It was amazing, to me at least. And so I saw it was like Death Doom or something along the lines of that. I'd never really ventured into Doom, but I wanted to check it out. So I listened to the album. To say I was blown away, and my reality of metal was reconstructed is an understatement, because that was one of the best albums I'd ever heard in my life. It was just fantastic, which I gotta get you to listen to that one. But since then, I have been a massive fan of November's Doom. Their later works, I was not the biggest fan of, to my recollection, but they were still solid. come we did the began to see the announcements for a new single from them. I was so excited because, like you guys mentioned, these guys are not a big act. Well, in comparison to a lot of stuff within the Doom community, they are pretty well known, but still they are a small to medium sized group based out of Chicago, and they are pretty much doing everything themselves. I'm not even sure they really have a manager, and if they do have a manager, it might be one of their close friends or someone within the family. They just got a small act going on, but that makes them better in my opinion, because they are not hounded by particular constraints. That being said, I did go ahead into this album and tried to listen to it, all bias put aside. We of course had heard the singles. I enjoyed the singles of what we heard. In the context of the album, which is where I really wanted to hear this. June was a fantastic opener. Absolutely one of the best for going along the Doom genre. Major Arcana comes in. Outstanding with one exception that this is the track where I'm wondering if they wanted to experiment, because within Doom or any kind of somber, melancholic genres, most of the time with instrumentally you're working with a minor scale which elaborates on any kind of I don't want to say depressing, but it's a somber feel to it, but it's done in a beautiful way depending on who composes it. Major Arcana to me actually went along some of the major scale, and it had this almost pop-like aspect to it. And I say pop-like because it had this almost upbeatness to it, which felt out of place to me with them being more Death Doom. Now, did that make the track completely horrible? No, not by any means. It was still a solid track, but that left more to be desired for me. That I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but it still wasn't bad, of course. My one opinion out of the 99 of the others that might say it was fantastic, so take that for what it's worth. Ravenous, if there was going to be a filler, this would have been it. And that's not saying in a bad way. It's just because of the subject material. It was more so that one of the guys, or the group of them, came across this little story, or this little interesting little happenstance, and they decided to make a track about it. So that was an interesting concept that I don't know if they've really done before, but it was material. It was something that they could get material from, and they were able to make a track regarding it. So it was cool, but I do feel like that could have potentially been an aspect of a filler, but still, it was written to the point where it was not filler. They did excellent on that. Mercy probably has to be one of my favorite tracks on this album, because I definitely do get teary-eyed every time I listen to it, because for one thing, the vocalist, I want to say his name is John, but I can't think. I don't remember. He is one of the best vocalists within Death Doom and Doom to be able to have some of the clearest, most enunciated vocals there are. And so you don't have issue, at least if you are accustomed to the Doom genre or even death metal genre. After a while, you become accustomed to be able to understanding what they're saying. This guy had such clear enunciation in what he was saying, and if you listen to the lyrics on Mercy, it's hard to listen to, but it's so beautifully done. It's heartbreaking, because if I understand it correctly, it was about a loved one that was on their last leg, or they were having they had a serious illness and they were about to part ways, and it was incredibly sad, but it was so beautifully done. It was amazing.
Vocalist is Paul, by the way.
Paul, okay. I was thinking John. The rest of the album was just solid, just their standard death doom, but they did not let down in their performance. They still did fantastic. Again, Doppler said something that I greatly recognized, which was the level of the mixing was fucking fantastic. The bass was so well balanced with the guitars, the drums was exceptionally well done, and again the vocals, like, you could clearly understand what was going on. Even some of the little details that they put in of maybe something going on in the background or just like a little added spice to the album, you could still fucking hear it. It wasn't really, it could have been buried for atmospheric purposes, but it could still be understood, which you don't hear a lot of that anymore. So that was exceptional. Yeah, all the way to the end. I absolutely love this fucking album. Like, I could go incredibly analytical, but this was just fucking straightforward in what they were offering and what it is. Before I get my rating, what up? So I didn't hold any expectations when listening to this album. I just knew it was a group that was one of my favorites regarding death doom.
Right.
My rating was an 8.5, and you better fucking believe I got the album.
Very nice.
Funny enough, I actually got it the day, if I'm not mistaken, I got it the day before it was technically released. So I never told Doppler or Frosty about that just because I wanted to leave it as a surprise. So yeah, I got the album, and it was well worth it. Taxes and everything, it was like $15 or $20. So, and taxes, taxes, shipping, everything, $50. Yeah. And yeah, I was so happy with my purchase. So 8.5. Yeah, guys, fucking outstanding. Keep doing what you're doing. Do not rush your next album whenever you guys go to plan on making another album. If you could decide to continue, because if you feel like you're done, if you've done all you need to, please do not force out an album. You guys are too great to force out an album. Take your time the same way you did with this one. It was well worth it. So yeah, that was my perspective on it. I believe Doppler said all he needed to, and we will pull in Frosty before too much longer and have his perspective on it, if the calendar allows, which I'll have to look into. Which, yeah, he's going through some OTR stuff. He was planning on being here today, or this evening for this filming, but welcome to trucking. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for taking a look. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any opposition for whatever reason, fight us in the comments. Until next time, guys, keep rolling heavy.